right, we are recording on the video right now. Hello, sure. We're testing the audio right now, and then we'll go live. All right, and 3, 2, 1, and we are live. Hello, everyone. This is Russell Dibird. At the very beginning of the Russell Dibird Show. Let's do a little sound check here. Make sure everything's going out okay. And let me turn it on and see. And I am going to be talking about some very exciting things today. Turn it on and see. All right, I see we're going out. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Today is Thursday, August the 8th, 2019. And not only is my show, had a little technical difficulties, so I'm running a little late today, about an hour and a half. But I guess even beyond that is the lateness of this show, in that it was originally scheduled for, I forget what month it was, but it was 1996. 1996 is when I originally had planned to begin doing a radio show, this radio show. And I even went so far as to give a $500 deposit to the local radio station here to get me as my deposit for my radio show. And I guess the salesperson took it back to the management and this and that. They wound up giving me my money back because the subject content didn't really fit their format. They're talk radio and rock and this and that, but basically, make a long story short, it was the show was on kind of a variety, a new understanding, a new look of taking a look at Jesus. And so, people who aren't into Jesus, they don't really want to hear about Jesus. And then the people that are already into Jesus, they've already got their little ways of doing things. So they don't really want to hear a new way. So basically, I was a person without an audience. And fast forward here to 2019, I guess since I couldn't find an audience, I decided to make one, or I kind of stumbled onto one. How's that? That's probably a better way of looking at it. And that is the Flat Earth community. Flat Earth community is a real, just a benefit, a beautiful thing for me, because I feel like I really found my peeps. And so I guess probably I should just back up, start my story, and so we can get that all out of the way, and then you'll know more where I'm coming from. And then here in the days and weeks ahead, then we'll dive into all kinds of specific things and get you all involved with it as well. So let's see, I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, and in the 50s I was born, and then so growing up in the 60s. And I was born into a Catholic family, so we went to Catholic church, Catholic school, and we were all in this little Catholic neighborhood. And so just, so I went to Catholic school all the way up through the 8th grade in that cloistered little, world of Catholic, and Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. So, my life was, like any kid, I guess. But so at 8th grade, after the 8th grade, we wound up moving over to the Kansas side. And my dad's idea of in the move, his real estate idea was to get the leased house in the nicest neighborhood. So that's what we did. We got, it was a nice house, but um, the neighborhood was fed into the local high school. And of course, a number of different neighborhoods through the Kansas City suburbs there fed into the same high school. Well, uh, one of the cities that fed into my high school was a town called Mission Hills, Kansas, which is one of about 20 enclaves in the United States where the uber wealthy live. The Russell Stover Candies kids, the guy that started Sprint, just all these, mega wealthy people. Well, so guess who's I'm sitting next to in lunch all of a sudden? That would be not little working class Catholic kids, kids of working class people. No, 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 no. These were high rollers and big ballers. And so I just got quite an eye opening from my freshman year on through high school. And a number of my friends, as we were graduating, there was only, this was after the Vietnam War, so it wasn't popular going to the military. So there was only about 5 of us that went into the United States military, but there was that many that went into the Israeli military as well. So you can see kind of the diversity of the high school that I went to, which was a great experience. And so after high school, I went into the Air Force, and as an air traffic controller, did that for 4 years. Had a blast. That was just, oh my gosh. I didn't like the Air Force so much, but the air traffic control part was really, really fun. So I had, all through the Air Force, even as a young man, I was still a practicing Catholic. Most people by then had, fallen away from their religion that they grew up with, but I guess I was more of a spiritual minded person. And so I kind of stayed active, went to church, had the Air Force base's Catholic priest was a young guy, and we got along great. We were buds, and, so I was okay with that, and so let's see. So I got out of the Air Force and wound up out in L.A., Los Angeles, 1979, and so let's see, late 79, about November. It's on a Friday night, and I'm out in the bustling, hustling town of Westwood. Westwood is the little town right outside of UCLA, so it's just, a real trendy place to be. And so anyway, so I was there at 8 and came out, and I was walking across the street kind of at an angle, and I looked, and I see this guy's looking at me. I go, oh gosh. So this guy's a little bitty guy, about 5'5", and he kind of like angles me off, he like gets the beady eye on me, and he comes up to me, and the first words out of his mouth were, "Did you know that Jesus loves you?" I go, dude, come on, man. This is Westwood. It's Friday. Are you kidding me? He goes, no, no, no. I said, well, I'm a Catholic, and so, I don't really know what you're talking about, though, because, I'm a Catholic. So I've never really heard that before, Jesus died for me and all that, the Catholic stuff. And he said, no, 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 no. He said, he's a scruffy-haired little guy, and basically he said, I'm a Jew. I'm a Jew, and I've converted over to Jesus. There's this new movement going on called Jews for Jesus. And that's what I'm doing out here. I'm out here to tell people about Jesus. I said, wow, well, good for you, dude. He goes, yeah, it's a big movement. It's a big thing going on right now. There's a lot of people involved. He said, we belong to a church that meets right here in Westwood. It's a bunch of young people, um, real fun music, and it's just really a good time. And a lot of pretty girls there too. I said, oh, well, all right, I guess I'll come check it out. So I did. I went, I checked out. It was called a Vineyard Christian Fellowship. And this was, again, 79. And so I went for like a couple of Sundays, and the music was great. Everything was cool. So I did. I enjoyed it. It was good. But it's like it didn't really stick. They gave me a Bible. So, I kind of started reading the Bible. The Bible they gave me a little bit. And but it just kind of I had done Sunday before, I'd done church before, so it's like, okay, that's okay, whatever. So then came along the new year, the new decade, 1980. So me and my buddies, we all got together and said, this is going to be our decade. We're just going to excel. We're going to live our dreams. We're going to do our thing. We're going to own LA. So we, got all into that. But it didn't take but about 2 weeks, and all the high wears off, and kind of the loneliness comes back and a little depression maybe, just kind of wandering, and I was really, searching at that time. One buddy had turned me on to Scientology, so I had the Scientology book going, and, just pretty confused, really, really confused. And so about 2 weeks into 1980, and basically I called, the guy's name was Chuck, the little Jewish guy. His name was Chuck. I called up Chuck and I said, Chuck, it was, the church is really cool and everything, but, I can't really get into it. I didn't really connect. Is there anything else? What else is there? And he goes, oh, yeah, man. Come to the Tuesday night. We have a house little service, little get together at the women's house. They a bunch of women rent a big home, and so we all meet over there. So come there. So boom, I showed up, and sure enough, the singing and the testimonies and the teaching and just everything, and I just saw the people and heard them, and they just seemed like salt of the earth kind of people. Really, really good folks. And I said, hey, you know what? I want what it is that you guys have got. So I asked them, and we went upstairs in a bedroom, and I had a born again experience. The coming towards Jesus. I said, yep, I'm coming towards Jesus. I'm giving Jesus my life. So basically for about the next 6 months, they called me Smiley because I was just so happy. I just felt so in my element and so happy with these people. And it was wonderful. So let's see. So fast forward. So I lived, as a born again Christian from that point on, basically, with some adjustments that happened along the way. And so basically, I met my wife, and we had babies, and we were, this was back, we wound up back in Kansas City, and then boom, I wound up back out here in San Diego, up in Oceanside. And so raised the kids up in Oceanside, and so we were doing the born again, just, living the born again, going to church, couple, and all of, our friends were all the church people and stuff. And basically what happened was we heard that some of the leaders in the church were having inappropriate relations with some of the women in the church, and it just turned into a big meltdown. And then the pastor had his little issues, and so basically we said, we are out of here. So we left. And so basically we were just, like, okay, Lord, what do you want? What's next? Well, what was next turned out to be the fact that that my wife and I had committed to homeschooling our kids once we had them. Well, we had them. And so we were homeschooling all of them, had all 4 of them. Well, we just had a newborn. And so we were homeschooling the kids. We were committed to the homeschool lifestyle. And so the homeschool little homeschool group that we were with up in Oceanside, they every year they went on a camping trip up here in the mountains here in San Diego, Laguna Mountains, with a small church in Solana Beach, a couple towns down the coast. And they were little church, and so they didn't have that many people. And so what we did was we combined together the people so that we could rent the campground up at the up in the mountains there. And so we were invited to the homeschool camp out, and so we showed up. We're in our motorhome, and we pull on up and hey, we're here. This is going to be a blast. Well, I don't know. It didn't take very long, but very, very shortly thereafter, I kind of honed in on the pastor's wife, Darlene. And Darlene and I started, oh, no, it wasn't Darlene. No, it was another lady. But anyways, we started talking, and boy, this church seemed like they were kind of interesting. They were well-spoken and spiritual-minded people, and a little mystical, little different. Going to take a minute to figure them out. So this was still in the afternoon. We're setting up camp, and so we get everything done, eat, and then we're singing around the campfire, this and that. And so basically, the pastor of their little church and I wound up, kind of squaring off, so to speak, there at the campfire. And now, so this was 1993. And so, had a Christian background all my life, hearing Bible verses in the Catholic Church. And then since 1980, I was a born-again Christian. So I was studying, and man, I knew lots of Bible verses, and, just knew, evangelical Christian, I knew my way around, the arguments and stuff. And so this pastor, this church, his name was David McLeod. David McLeod from Solana Beach, California. And basically, David he knew all the exact same Bible verses that I did, except Dave kind of had a different understanding to all of them. Like almost every one of them, he kind of threw a little zinger curveball on me as far as, what that verse meant, and it's like, what? So, it was interesting, but the real problem is that deep inside my spirit, I could feel that his answers actually made more sense than mine did. So I was like all ears. I mean, we stayed up until like 4 or 5 in the morning, hit it the next day, stayed up the next night, same thing. I was just like hammering this guy. Just, what do you mean? Well, what? I mean, it's like, how can you have this whole nother version, So I was really intrigued. So basically, we wound up going to his church pretty much from that point on, because we were abandoned, from our previous church. So we got really involved with his church, and it was a very, very small church, only just a dozen people, if that. And so our energy, with the 4 little kids, and then I'm an energy on my own, it's like, because I had so many questions. And then, then I've got a wife who's still in the evangelical, hey, we still got these things we believe, right? And I'm going, well, yeah. but it looks like, now it's got like an asterisk or, a second way of looking at it, basically. And so, boy, we had our bell rung with that one. That kind of just changed life around. And boy, really went through the ringer for it also, because when you kind of step outside of the orthodoxy, the thing that everybody else believes, then all of a sudden people go, "Wow, what happened to you? You changed." Well, yeah, no, that's true. So we have to ask ourselves, is change good? So it kept feeling good. It kept sounding good. It kept resonating, and there weren't any Bible verses that were being violated. Matter of fact, it seemed to make a whole lot of other verses kind of come to life. So, anyways, I'll get into all those details in upcoming days. But so back to where my story left off was, so I had my bell rung so hard, and it was like my second born again experience. You could call me Smiley, again, except for the 4 little kids keep you with your, pulling your hair out. But no, it went pretty smooth. I love being a dad. But so I was so excited. I want to get on the air. I want to tell the whole world this exciting new understanding. And for now, I'll just say that the kind of the teacher, the guy that was able to decipher these truths, this understanding, his name was Mikkel Dahl. Mikkel Dahl, Mikkel, Dahl, Dahl, and he was a Canadian. Basically, he was born in 1900 and he died in 2000, 100 years old. I spoke to him a couple of times on the phone. We actually launched out on a journey to go visit him, but circumstances and this and that, we didn't quite make it there. But so anyways, I was so excited. I wanted to get out on the radio. I wanted to tell the world about these teachings of Mikkel Dahl and what it was doing for me. And so again, I gave them the deposit. They gave me the money back, said, "No, we're not going to do that." And so basically, I kind of became a guy with an exciting message, but no audience. Because again, the non-Christians don't really want to hear about Jesus. And the Christians, they were already cool with the Jesus, the version they already had, so they didn't want anything new, right? So I just kind of put it on the back shelf. I just started a website. I've got the website. I've got articles that I wrote about 20 years ago, actually 20 years ago, are still up there. It's the website's had a great impact on many, many people's lives. I'm very, very proud of that. And but I always knew that I've been given a gift of understanding certain things and a gift of knowledge of certain things that I wouldn't be able to keep to myself forever. That pretty soon they would have to come out from underneath the bushel, so to speak. So here I am. So what brought me to this point was understanding about the flat earth. Once it finally dawned on me that what the earth is flat. Once I realized that, then I realized that there's a whole community of people now that are what go by the name of flat earthers. And so as I dug into the flat earth community, I was pretty shocked to see that there's actually, a large contingent, a large side of the flat earth community is actually atheist. I still have a hard time wrapping my mind around it, actually, but I guess they think that the building was built by aliens is the only thing I can kind of figure. But for me, when I saw that, hey, we're living in a building, then that just exploded my whole brain with, well, Obviously, if we're in a building, there's a builder. And of course, I believe that there's a builder. But I never realized up until now we were in a building. I thought the builder put us on a spinning ball in outer space. And we're all spinning around out in outer space, going through, you know. And so I was like, no. It's just like the Bible says. It's flat, stationary, a dome over the top, right? Oh my goodness. So to me, that just screamed the name, you know, a builder. If we're in a building, we've got to have a builder. And so, boy, man, I'm all on board with that. That is really, really a great idea. So I'll back up just here one quick second on, actually, let me get a drink real quick, if you don't mind. We'll take a little 2-second break. By the way, you're listening to, gosh, I don't even know if I introduced my show. This is FERLive.com, the ferret. It's Flat Earth Radio Live. And you're listening to Russell Dibird on the Russell Dibird Show. And specifically, this is called The Keys Restored. We are going to be restoring the keys of knowledge that Jesus mentioned in Luke 11:52 had gone missing. So we're going to see if we can round them back up and have some fun along the way. This is something really meant to be fun and exciting. I think that learning about who I am at my most deepest core is the most exciting thing that I can undertake. And so let me back up on how I found the flat earth. So let's see, I became involved in the truth movement pretty early on, I guess, probably mid 2004, 5, right around in there. And I came on through Alex Jones. Thank you, Alex. Very, very bold and brave of you. And he opened my eyes to 9/11, basically. And then from there, it was just kind of a slippery slope down into the rabbit holes. Because growing up, my dad, my dear dad, he always pretty much was always in front of the TV, and he always watched TV. He always still watches TV. And so to some degree, I guess I rebelled against that. You know how us kids do, you know. So basically, I've been kind of like anti-TV all my adult life. I really haven't really, you know, we had one for the kids. And, you know, I had a little span of time there where I'd watch the Padres, you know. But then that got old, so I just got rid of it. And that was years and years and years and years ago since I even had one even around. So ever since then, you know, I get my entertainment. My work is through the internet, and my entertainment is pretty much right here through the internet. And so, you know, what do you do? You know, and I don't watch entertainment that's made for me. I would rather entertain myself by going and seeing what I can discover. My kind of my motto, my logo, my motto, I guess, for myself begins with the understanding that right now there are things that I currently believe are true, and in fact, I'm going to live to see the day to find out that I was wrong, that it was false. There are certain things that I think are right, but I'm probably going to wind up finding out it was wrong. There's going to be people that I think are one way, and I'm going to find out a different way, right? In other words, I'm going to remain flexible and open, number one. But number two, I'm actually going to pursue the things that I have wrong. In other words, I don't really know what they are yet. I don't even know what they are yet. I just know that they're there. And so I'm going to come looking for you suckers. Right? So that's when I just go on the internet and I just start looking. I just start being aware, start reading articles that'll be of interest. But more important is go down the rabbit holes that are presented in that article. That article or that video will say, brip, and you go, what did he say? Well, instead of just letting it blow on by, stop, change direction, and go down that path, right? So that's been my policy. So I just, man, there's no direction is off limits. There's no place I can't go, really, outside my own morality, outside my own tastes, and my tastes are very narrow. Very, I don't watch the horror movies or anything like that. I just learned at a very early age that once that stuff gets in, it's a bear to get it back out. It's, matter of fact, it's almost impossible. And so boom, I was open to all the conspiracies. I don't know, I'm open, And what Alex Jones so masterfully points out to us is that what we're now being accused of as being a conspiracy, blah, 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 theory, right? That in fact, what he's doing is simply reading their documentation before they pulled it on us, because they have to tell us ahead of time what they're going to do, right? So these things are all a conspiracy, right? No. We're just reading from their playbook. And so if they don't like it, they know it's going to happen, but they know that it's such a small fringe of us that it doesn't really matter. That, that the 97% are always going to consider us 3% to be whacks and kookballs and nut jobs, whatever. And they can always marginalize us. And so that's why they don't really stress out over us too bad. They just kind of, just let them go. And, because they know that most people will ignore it. Although I must say, I think that the understanding for 9/11 truth, I think is got to be getting close to, a turning point, a reckoning, a general awareness. There's different words for it, and different books have been written about how when a population gets up to a certain threshold, then there's catastrophic social change. So we may be getting close to that on that front. Another front that took hold in about 2015 was the understanding that a few people put out on some videos, and then people started looking for themselves, and they started realizing there's no curve. There's no curve. And number two, I don't feel any spin of the earth. So all of a sudden it just kind of bam, and like the scales dropped off of people's eyes, and they go, wow, you're right. There is no curve. And yeah, I guess I have to shake off my cognitive dissonance and realize, we're not spinning. No. And so that awareness has started growing and growing and building, so that today it's probably right up there with the 9/11 understanding. Probably not quite that, not that broad yet, but we're getting there. And so so what led me specifically was that my buddy over in Arizona, Mike, he had an experience coming into the flat earth that was really unusual. He's basically, is friends with a lot of younger people, hears a lot of input from the younger people. And so he had just kind of heard heard these things about the flat Earth. And so he had looked into it himself, and he'd go, "Oh my goodness!" So he had gotten convinced of it. He was on board with it. And at the time, he was living with his brother, and his brother was a person that he was into more of like things like space travel and astral projection and a lot of the more new age type things. And so when my buddy started telling him about, hey man, I'm starting to think the Earth is flat and we're in like a dome. We can't even get out of here. His brother got violently reactive and said, "I don't want to hear about that. That's against my religion. That's against." And basically, he was making his living off of teaching people about these things, the cosmic travel, and just all these things that kind of went against the idea of the flat Earth. So his brother really rebelled and really just put his hackles raised. I don't want to hear it, man. Just leave me alone. Right. So basically, my buddy was like shell shocked. He goes, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know that it could cause such a difficult reaction out of people, man." So he just got an earful right out of the gate. So when he approached me with it, his buddy, he's real timid. He was real timid. He's like, hey, Russ, would you just check this thing out? Just the Earth is flat. Just check it out, would you? I go, "Oh, come on, Mike. Yeah, it's the most ludicrous thing I ever heard, man." Basically what I kept coming back with was when we were in outer space and took the picture, it would have showed a saucer, a flat saucer, rather than the ball that we see, and I don't know, would the water be spilling off of it or what? I just kind of brings up kind of like a cartoon image at that point. But he never backed it up, and he never fought for it, which is so unlike him. He's such a strong personality. Man, when he gets something going, you're going to hear about it. He's when he believes something, he really believes it, right? That's why it threw me off that he was so timid about this subject. So I just didn't pay it any mind. Just, whatever. So, but he was consistent with it over a number of months. He kept telling me, "Hey man, look into this." But I never did. Until basically one Friday night, I'm sitting here with a buddy, and we're throwing back a couple of brewskis, this and that. We started telling war stories and all kind of stories, and then conspiracy theory stories, and then boom, it just popped into my mind because we're like one-upping each other. Hey, have you heard this one? Hey, have you heard this one? Hey, right? So, oh my God, no, wait. I've got the conspiracy theory to end all conspiracy theories, and I haven't even looked into it yet. So we are going to learn together. So check this out. My buddy tells me, look in. He says he thinks the Earth is flat. I go, so anyways, so we get a kick out of that. Okay, so, all right, let's check it out. So basically, I turn around here to the computer, pull up YouTube, type in flat. This was the spring of 2017. So the algorithms had not been toyed with yet. So, the first thing to pop up with was a Mark Sargent or an Eric Dubé, basically. And basically the video went very, very quickly right into the model of the Earth with the dome over the top and the flat and the round and the, like a pizza with the dome over the top. And once I laid my eyes on that, the scales dropped off of my eyes immediately. I knew exactly, automatically, oh my gosh, that's what the Bible describes. So all of a sudden, every bell that could resonate inside me just ding, 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 ding. Oh, we have a winner here. So, oh my goodness. Anyways, I just, wow. So anybody that's been a flat earth a convert, you probably know what, the next few weekends were like, or the next few days were like, which is just YouTube videos and go down all the whole new set of rabbit trails. I had already known that NASA was a joke and a hoax, but then you start looking really into that and the bubbles in space and just, oh my goodness. So I became a flat earther immediately. So basically, all through the summer and then into the fall of 2017, I was just, casually watching some videos, just kind of, wow, yeah, no, that's cool. Boy, that really resonates. Just kind of reprogramming my whole mind, my whole computer, my spirit to, get this just soaked inside me, right? And then, so then came November 2017, and I'm watching YouTube, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, look what I missed. Darn, it was the first Flat Earth Convention, the Flat Earth International Convention, 2017 in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I just missed it. Dang. So, oh well, I guess let me see how much of it I can see here online. So started watching videos. So I'm watching video after video, a bunch of good ones. And then a guy came on, and he was one of the speakers at it, And so he was doing his after view, and his afterglow. Basically, he said, basically, the show was awesome. It was tremendous. It was wonderful. It was the best we could ever imagine. It was better than I could imagine. Oh my goodness. That is until Sunday, when the Christians got up there and ruined the whole damn thing. What? What? I hadn't heard about this. And then he went on to badmouth not only, Christians, but and so I started looking into him. He's like really, really bad-mouthing, Jesus. Like, he's like really anti-Jesus. It's a hard time to tell, are you anti-Jesus or anti-Christians, or is it both? Or it seemed like it was both. So I go, wow, man, how can you believe in the flat earth without, okay. So I'm just trying to wrap my mind around, and so then I started looking at all, a lot of these other stars up there that were up there, and it's like, seems like a lot of them up there aren't really, they're definitely not talking about Jesus. They just talk about the flat earth. They just keep it real generic with just the flat earth, right? But the little bit of research I've been doing here, looking into it, that, the people that were rediscovering the flat earth through like the 1800s to the 19th century there, and early 20th century, they all started off as Christians. And basically all of their writings were all kind of like back and forth between proof and evidence in the Bible, proof, evidence, Bible, just kind of, those two all kind of work together. Is how those people were for about 100 years. All those people seem to be, integrated it together. And so then it all got derailed in about 1920, was about the last book we saw. And the flat earth kind of went back underground for about 100 years, almost 100 years, about 95 years, until about, like I said, 2015, it began to resurface. But when it did resurface, it kind of came out with a different version. It was kind of the version that hated Jesus, or at least, tolerated him, but didn't give him any mind, didn't give him any airtime, that's for sure. And basically, it kind of is to the point where if you do talk about him, then you get kind of put into a different box of flat earther. You're kind of a Jesus flat earther or a Bible flat earther, or I'm not sure there. It doesn't seem like, since not so many of the leaders are so much into that, we don't really hear that much about it. So there's not that much creativity going into that area. So basically, I looked around and I just asked myself, if there is, since it looks like all the, most of the leaders here are, atheist, agnostic, or, neutral, then I wonder if there's room here in the flat earth community for people who do believe in the Bible, who do like Jesus, who don't mind saying his name, who don't mind, being identified with him and, his message, um, his his involvement with this place. In other words, what I found out that the flat earthers, what I came to understand is that the flat earth people were gathered together as a group, as a community, based on the fact that they recognized that we're in a building. And so there's going to be a large percentage of the population that's been kind of trained into the ABC type mentality. ABC, anybody but Christ, anything but Christ, right? Just the Christ haters. I understand that, right? But yeah, still a whole bunch of us who still are believers. And so I knew immediately that so the other thing that I had an understanding of was that both YouTube and Facebook were owned by gentlemen who were not at all favorable towards the Christian message. And so that if people did get on with a Christian lean, a Christian bent, it's only a matter of time before, basically you got the thumbs down or the squash or the delete, So I knew kind of just like instinctively that, wow, we need a home for the flat earthers. The flat earthers need a home. And besides, I'm a frustrated radio guy. And besides, I've been reaching out to Jeff Rentz for years to try to get a show, to even try to be an advertiser on the Rentz network. Nah, he never will get back to me. Never, right? So it's like, all these shut doors. And all of a sudden, wow, here's this hungry, starving audience of flat earth people with nowhere to go, with no home. So so basically my little brain went to work, and I got my very first domain, I think, was FERLive.com, the Flat Earth Radio Network, FERLive.com. And I started a radio, it was going to be the name of the radio station, Flat Earth Radio Network, FE, and I still have that domain, but it's just sitting. And so my involvement at that time with the Flat Earth, what I had done after I recognized it didn't take me very long before I started the San Diego Flat Earth Meetup. And so we were having a meeting every week. And so I went there and I presented the idea to Thunderbear. Thunderbear was one of the guys showing up. And he showed up that week, and I kind of ran it up by him. And then I thought, the other one, though, that everybody's using is the live, where it says GCN Live, TFR, all these different ones live, right? So I thought, well, maybe we should do that. So I went, and my second choice wound up being FERLive, Flat Earth Radio Live.com. So took that and ran with it. And so got that domain. And so basically, Thunderbear put out on his Facebook that there was a new new Flat Earth station that had been started, and if anybody wanted to get involved, that we were looking for volunteers. So from his group, the first volunteer that we had was Mr. Rick Lotek. Rick came on and he just took the bull by the horns and started doing commercials and started recruiting people and really it took some of his previous radio experience and kicked it into gear and really took over. We really appreciate what Rick did. And an old friend, a guy that Rick had known through his Facebook friends, was a guy by the name of Mark Hollander. Mark had written a book about the flat earth back in 2014, 2015, somewhere in there. He was an early adopter. And he, so they were friends, and Rick asked Mark if he would like to do a show together, a radio show. And Mark said, sure, that sounds like fun. So those two started pretty much the first show. And then Thunder Bear, he's had a show the whole time. And then Mark, in his book, had included, I think he included in his book, an Army veteran who had become somewhat disabled by the vaccines that she had received in the Army as a green, I don't remember what her, she was jumped out of the airplanes, I think. But so Mark, and that was Shelley Lewis. And so Mark and Shelley had stayed friends, stayed in touch throughout since that time. And Mark started his radio show, and he started reaching out to his friends and said, hey, I've got a new radio show, and I would love for you to come and listen. And even if you're inclined, we're looking for a host. And Shelley was at a crossroads in her life. She was looking for a new project. And so she said, yes, that sounds great. I want a radio show too. So Shelley started a show. So she came on board, and Randy and Craig, and we've had a number of people come and start shows. And so here we are over a year later, so we're still perking along and going out live now over Flat Earth Radio Live. And soon we'll be over on YouTube, and we'll be just expanding out. So basically the rest of the story here real quick is that after I started the Flat Earth Radio, I started looking around, and I found other Flat Earth related domains that had not been taken. So I started snatching them up. So basically, from memory, here's kind of the list so far. I shouldn't do this by memory. I should do it. I should read it. Yeah, probably should, shouldn't I? So Flat Earth Radio was first. Then I got FEVids for a video platform. Got FETunes for a music platform. FEmemes for a memes platform. FEpub for a publishing platform. FEpeople for a social media platform. Should have right there. Let's see. FE Talks is a like a TED Talk where we can have auditoriums, arenas around the country, invite people together, invite speakers, and invite an audience to come watch, a live audience. And instead of TED Talks, we do FE Talks, Flat Earth Talks. We've got the fethink.com, which is a think tank. I soon will be reaching out to leaders in the Flat Earth community and asking them to join forces, to join in this group, so that we can all begin to float ideas with each other, take all our ideas on how to promote the Flat Earth, how to how to present the flat Earth, how to present ourselves, initiatives that we can begin and come together and work together, and our good ideas would hopefully rise to the surface in that structure of the think tank. So I'm very, very excited about that. I really think that that's a great part of the future of the flat Earth community here. Let's see, what else do we have? We've got brand new one is the FE podcast. So basically, the format that we're going to be following in my mind right now is that our shows will all go out live over the radio, and they'll go out over YouTube live. And then in the archives for about a week or so. And then after that, then they go into the permanent archives, which will be behind a subscription. So basically, the videos will go over at FEVids behind the premium content, and the archives go behind the subscription wall, and the audio versions, the podcasts, go over at FE Podcast, and FE Podcast, the same thing. The subscription would work in both places, and so that seems to be, with YouTube just cracking down so much, it seems like YouTube now is the place to go and find the people, meet the people, let them be introduced to your stuff, and then bring them over to your platform. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Let's see, a couple things. Flat events is where all of our events are posted. So go to Flat Events, and you can even post your own events there. If you've got a Flat Earth, a podcast, a get together, anything, go there and post your event at Flat Events. And let's see what else. And then finally, that all came under an umbrella called the Flat Earth Media Group. You're listening to the Flat Earth Media Group, property of the Flat Earth Radio. So the Flat Earth Media Group consists of all those domains. And the website for that is femgp.com, flatearthmediagroup.com. So check that out. And I hope everyone will go to FERLive.com, FERLive.com, and sign up for our newsletter so that I can stay in touch and let you know what's on the agenda, what's on the schedule, what's on my mind. So please tune in and sign up. And I will be, coming on noon Pacific time, Monday through Friday, every day from here on out, as far as I know. So I'll come on and we'll be having guests, and we'll be exploring some of these rabbit holes that I've been going down, and most importantly, we're going to be talking about Jesus, about the most important thing in my life, which is Him. And so I hope you will stay tuned, come back, and be sure and subscribe to our channel. We'd like to get up to 100 so that we can get a unique URL, our own URL over at YouTube. So subscribe and give a likes up if you liked it. And so anyways, thank you all so much. It's been a blast, and not so bad for my first time. I feel like it came out fairly smoothly, except for all my stuttering. So please forgive me and bear with me, and thanks again. So back to our regularly scheduled programming at FERLive.com, The Ferret. Thank you so much, and bye for now. and go pee.